All right, let's call this to order. All right, roll call.
Tammy Bowman,
Craig Campbell.
George Harris.
Sandy Butler,
All right, and we do have a quorum. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes of last meeting?
Yes.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
motion to approve the minutes from last time.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, they're approved. Ready to go.
Okay.
Old business.
Righty,
Hannah, you're up.
yep. So.
Hannah Rose, I'm sorry, I keep calling you Hannah. Hannah Rose.
You're good. So we have the stable rehab. I just kind of threw in this old picture of Specs Restaurants. That's the most historic one I think that we have. Steve and Missy have updated kind of what they're asking for. The brick is no longer part of the application. They are looking to have vertical, single swing, single bay style windows, which you can see some examples of those there. They're basically a large bay window that's on a swing and it comes up and it's locked in by hydraulics or something of the sort. New door, you can see an example there. Is a black metal, that's brown, but it'll be black. Large window in the front, kind of really similar to what they have right now. And then some gooseneck lighting above the bay windows, above the transoms. They're also looking to retain repair wood transom window frames, but replace with a more efficient glass for keeping the building warm or cool, which is double paned. And then they're also planning on putting up a new sign and painting the building at some point. When they get a better idea for a sign, it'll just go through my office. But the idea that they had fits so far historically, as well as from our UDO standards. So if you've got any questions for them, or if you have anything you'd like to add, go ahead.
I'll come up and entertain questions, and then I can add. There are questions.
Okay. So the original transoms, are those still gonna be there? You're gonna put that new glass underneath those?
Those are the transom. That's not the original glass. Those are all replacement glass. When the stable moved from Pendleton Avenue,
Yeah.
from the Donnies, those were all painted, and our partner Adam tried to get all the paint off of them, and they just kept cracking.
Right.
So those are not original windows. So we would keep that same design, but just do double pane and with
Okay.
the wood frame.
Okay,
And
that would be good.
We'll
Yeah.
either rip, if there's repairs to be made with it, we'll keep it wood.
So like if you look at the existing, this one, and then yours, it looks a lot the same because those are, you said those are newer windows, right? But
Yes.
they look like the old ones, so.
Yes, and then an exciting point to make is the middle window. That has been nailed shut for a long time just because of the weather and the rain getting in. When we rehab the facade, we want to be able to open that up
Right.
Okay.
and bring it back to its original, to where you could tell it opened, and it doesn't open up and down, it
Opens out.
opens out.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the swing window you might end up putting in as well.
Yes, and the reason why we would like to do the swing window is to incorporate, as you all know, we have no outdoor space.
Right.
And the town, with COVID, we were able to implement outdoor seating. And we maintained that since COVID hit, but with limited outdoor space, we would like to incorporate a window that could open up to basically more like the one to the right.
Okay.
And then the outdoor seating, which we already have, you could actually, if somebody wanted to sit outside and still sit with somebody that was wanting to be on the inside, you
Okay.
could still
Yeah.
sit there and still have a conversation.
Those are going to be single pane, and are they going to be swinging outward, or are they be swinging backward back into the?
Probably go in.
They probably will go in, but
Okay.
they could also go out.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fine.
know. We haven't, those are obviously examples of the
Mhm.
windows. But we could come back to the commission if we get approval, once we find a window similar to that, we could come back and show you what it's going to look like.
So I'm not understanding what it's gonna look like. That's the problem that I'm having. So you have a transom, which is gonna be the new windows,
Yep.
like the old windows.
Yeah, if you want to go back to the old picture.
Sure.
So basically, these are all gonna stay the same.
Okay,
No issues there, wood framed.
Yep.
These windows here will be the ones that will open in or open out.
okay,
And then obviously we can close with the weather and everything.
right.
So
And they're gonna go
both-
all the way down to where the cement is.
Right here, no, right here. We're gonna
Oh.
keep this.
Oh, you are gonna keep that?
Yeah, once you all said you didn't want the garage doors, we wanted to keep this, and we threw that out the window. And, but yeah, this will, the faceplate, is that what that's
Kick
called?
plate.
Kick plate.
Kick plate, yeah.
Plate.
The kick plate staying. It would just be the windows.
Okay.
Now, I was also wondering if you're gonna be able to have people outside, would there be like a table that would butt up there so that people could have a place to put their drinks while people are on the inside?
Mhm.
If you, okay,
Yeah.
We had discussed something that could either be like, it could be temporary or it could be like a snap up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. well, I don't like this idea. I think it's great.
And then the, as we get in, once we, right now, our contractor, which is 20th Century, Chad Lukens, they are in the process of getting the state permit completed because you have to go through Homeland Security.
Yeah.
Because with an indoor remodel, we have to become ADA compliant and everything. So we haven't applied for any permits yet because we wanted to get the state one done first.
Right.
So this is all pending. Once we get all that, because that takes longer, then we'll come to the town and get the approval from the town, pending your approval. But right now, where the stable is right there, all that is already, that's hardy board.
Right. It looks
already.
nice.
Yeah, so we are, obviously, that's in really, really good shape, so we won't be doing a whole lot with that, except we will be painting.
Oh, that's great.
My wife wants to make that part of it really pop,
Mhm.
and we'll stay within the historical guidelines for the paint. I did not know until I talked to Hannah Rose that there is a historical line of paint.
Yes, there is.
So, yeah, this has been a very big learning experience for me, which I've kind of enjoyed. So anyway, so we will be painting eventually, and then upon review, if there's any rotten areas or anything that need to be replaced, obviously that would be replaced with hardy board. But the transom will all stay wood. We'll maintain all that, and then the windows will be aluminum frame.
Now, the gooseneck lights, are they gonna go just above the transom windows or to the top?
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm thinking there'll probably be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
right here, 3 of them, maybe
That's,
4.
yeah,
And then when the sign comes, and I've talked to Hannah Rose about this, when the sign comes, which will be within code for the town, we're gonna do some offset lighting on the sign. So when you're driving by on State Street, especially at night, it's not gonna be blinding by any means, but it'll be offset lighting so you can see the sign. So,
and the sign's gonna be mounted flat on the,
no, it's gonna,
It's gonna be
it's gonna be like it's gonna project.
oh, okay, great,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you know the width of that entry door right now? Is it gonna have to be changed? What's the width of that?
I don't think so. I think we'll have to make it ADA
That's what I'm
compliant.
saying. I don't
Yeah.
know. Can't remember
So-
what it needs to be.
I would think it's probably 36.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 feet wide, it barely fits our kitchen equipment on it. but I just learned that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I mean, this is an ADA compliant.
And with the door, with a restaurant, as we all know, there's people coming in and out a lot. It's not like a business, an insurance business in town. So we need that door with I call it a safety handle. So people just aren't pushing on the glass, they have to open it with the handle. So it's just more of a safety concern. And then we'll have our store logo and business hours on the door. But that's basically it. We've scaled it down, hopefully to get your approval on what we're trying to do. The stable's been here for 10 years, starting on Pendleton Avenue and moving over to the old Donnie's. And we are committed to the community, and we're making a huge investment, not only to the facade, but the building inside is top to bottom remodel. I mean, we're talking plumbing, electric. It's a pretty expansive operation, and we're happy to do it.
Yeah.
But we kind of like to showcase, hopefully, the stable as a downtown place to come to.
Can't wait to see the bathrooms.
Yeah, yes, all new bathrooms, yes.
Fancy bathrooms.
Yes, well, the bathrooms we have right now, you know, they're,
Rough,
yes, they're rough.
which is okay. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
I hate when people come from out of town and go into that.
Yes.
I've been in far worse.
Oh, yeah, me
And
too,
ours
yeah.
too.
But basically, for those of you who don't, I didn't bring the plans, I should have, but the bar itself remodel wise, the kitchen is going all the way to the back.
Okay.
And we do have an upstairs area. Those stairs are going to be taken out and we're going to put a lift in to get to the upstairs area for storage. That just gives us more, even though we're dealing with the same space, we're going to be able to probably double the size of the kitchen. And we are making it a professional kitchen. We hired a company out of Indianapolis with the design and the equipment.
So where the kitchen is, you're gonna have more table spaces.
Yes, we're moving our stage from the front to the back, and we're going to downsize the bar a little bit. We love the bar, but it's bulky. So we're going to trim that down a little bit. But like I said, the only thing staying in that building inside is the brick wall, which will seal and
It's a beautiful brick wall.
yes. So I don't know what's going to be on the east side wall. I know on the other side, the glass shop, that's brick.
Yeah.
But once we get that initial layer, I don't know if that's going to be brick on our side or not, but if it is, then, you know, we'll think about keeping that too. So, but we're committed, like I said, to the community and the downtown area, and we're just excited to get the project rolling. It's our contractor saying May 1st. It's
Completion.
yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
So it's an extensive, we're hoping May 1st, fingers crossed. So, but anyway, that's kind of like the story behind what we're trying to do.
Is there, hey Scott, is there a permits for them to extend those tables out there on the sidewalk?
No,
They can just do it.
they can
We've
just,
already gotten.
I didn't know the answer of that. I just
Yeah.
wanted to know my own being.
so the criteria is, they need to put it out when winter hits so that we can,
Oh, okay,
wow, snowplow.
yeah.
But they want to bring them out.
It also
During the
has
winter,
to
like
read.
now we've had this unusual, that's fine, just that when the snow hits. And then the other criteria is that it needs to just leave the ADA minimum requirement of a 5-foot path,
Okay,
and then with safety in mind, it can't be that they're pumping pedestrians out.
I think that's great. If we don't have
Yeah.
just a couple of things that you have to.
Yeah, and with excise on their end, on our end, we just have to make sure it's technically roped off.
Oh, you.
So
have
when
to-
people come outside the bar and are sitting out there with a beer, you know, can
Oh,
and we've all seen, and I've had a brief discussion with Scott on this, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to talk to our attorney and maybe our town attorney and Scott, but you know, when you go down south to Florida, especially since COVID hit, and you are walking down the sidewalk and these bars and restaurants have all this seating outside and people just walk through that area. There, you know, you walk through people eating and dining and talking, as long as there's area for that 5 feet. But so we might try to incorporate something like that to where there's a pathway where it's not roped around, you just kind of walk right on through. So,
Right.
but that's something we'll have to talk about later.
It's not relevant, but it's in the discussion, not relevant to your decisions here, but we are gonna start putting planners, thanks to Lisa Floyd and her team. Idea, and then we may put a rectangular, long skinny one along there, just because that's the one spot in town where we've taken away the parking. And we don't want people to accidentally step into the street.
Okay,
But we don't want to take Steve,
the space away from.
his space away from him. So we're talking,
Great job.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
hopefully we saved you guys a little money, maybe.
I think we have.
Good,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what we were wanting to do, I mean, yeah, so it has saved us some money that we can use on the inside.
The only thing
Fantastic.
I would like, and this is just a suggestion, is a wood door.
Well,
I know, that's a hard one.
it is a hard one.
I
It is a hard one.
Yeah.
keep, trying to find something to have a wood door, and we just need it to be sturdy enough that when they're pushing through, they're not gonna go through the glass, because even our metal door that we have right now, well, it was, we had somebody break it, shattered it, so it's just, you know, that's a hard going in and out. We have so much traffic coming in and out.
Yeah.
Generally, like it's, you know, with
Oh,
like
for
music
sure.
too, and it's,
Yeah.
you know, they come in late night for that, and that's, yeah.
Is
We're
there a
gonna keep
different,
trying.
is there a different material that like looks like glass, but is made specifically for restaurants or bars? It's just like shatterproof? There's,
Like tempered glass, maybe?
It's a tempered glass is what it
Yeah.
is.
maybe that would help.
Well, in the past, though, we've had people attempt to break in more than once, and wood really makes me nervous
Yeah,
because somebody tried to take a crowbar and pry our back
Right.
door. And
Yeah.
the wood trim was just annihilated,
yeah,
and we never caught them. We didn't have cameras at that point. We
Right.
do now,
yeah.
but
Is there like a metal frame tempered glass?
I mean, there's probably something.
Yeah.
There is, but I
Maybe
just,
But wood, yeah.
I feel so much more secure with.
I guess as any door that the public would be using will be tempered. You can't have a door that their glass that will shatter in a public space.
That's true.
So it'll probably come tempered anyway.
Yes.
Like I love the look at the coffee shop when we had the wood.
Mhm.
It's also changed over as well.
And for heat and cool and all that.
Yes.
You gotta be smart about that. And the black door, it looks like a wood door painted
I,
black. you
I
know.
thought it would look nice with the black.
Yeah,
lights hanging
absolutely.
Out there too.
And talking to Chad Lukens today, I actually had a conversation with him this morning. He said regarding the windows that we are proposing, he could do it to where it'd be minimal exposure of the aluminum frame, that you would almost not even see it. The wood would come up to that. So he said that would be no issue at all.
Good idea.
So I've got a couple comments, but on your large windows, if you swing out from the bottom, then when they swing back in, it can be much easier to have a weather seal. If they swing in from the bottom, then it's very difficult to have any kind of weather seal to keep the water, which sometimes we have these blowing rains out of the south,
Mhm.
and to keep that water out. So if the door opens this way and comes back in and has a little piece here for the window, it will seal well, and that would be the advantage to having the bottom open out. The transom windows, I'm non-voting, but I just get to talk once in a while here. And if the transom windows were the same size as the windows that are there, then that would fit into some of the historic guidelines the Historic Preservation Commission attempts to follow in what happens in the town of Pendleton. So I'm taking it that you no longer have gambling upstairs there.
Yeah, there's no gambling going upstairs.
Okay. Well, I always wondered about some of the guys getting down the stairs after they've been up there drinking and gambling at night.
Yeah, there's been no gambling up there since we've been involved.
I wasn't questioning
Yeah.
that. On your doors, the oldest original door that I'm aware of in downtown here is the main entry door into Catello's. And it's made out of white oak. During his remodeling, it got painted black, but it had been a beautiful door the last time we finished the thing. And it's over 100 years old, but I'm guessing that building is about 1904. I was looking at the Sanborn maps in the library yesterday, and it doesn't show up in 1898. It's a different looking building because the top blew off at some time. Then the upper section might be about 1904. So that door's been there for quite a while. New doors that were spec for Catello's other entryway and Jerry Burmeister's entry were white oak. Now, the difference between a white oak door and a red oak door may not sound like much, but red oak is a sponge. It absorbs water and self-destructs. White oak the thresholds that you see in old homes and buildings are made out of white oak, because it does hold up well. And then if you want to step up one step with a wooden door, you would have a quarter sawn white oak door. And it has a little bit of additional weatherproofness, and it's a little bit more stable than just the straight white oak door. I'm glad to see the changes that you have made here. And in today, we had a Main Street meeting. Scott time to permit to get there when it was over. But somehow we got by without it. I know it's hard to believe. So in Main Street, there's a couple quotes I want to read here from that. That successful Main Street efforts are built on the guiding principle that district economic development is obtained by leveraging and preserving its unique historic and cultural assets. Then in another section, the following indicators provide important guidelines on how Main Street programs can build a strong foundation for revitalization through the preservation of buildings and cultural assets, educating the public on the value to economic growth, and enlisting businesses and property owners in redevelopment effort. And then there's a number of reasons that we continue on with that. The promotion of historic heritage and cultural assets. This HPC it's suggested that through Main Street, which we wouldn't have had our facade grant if it hadn't been for us having a Pendleton Main Street. Pendleton Main Street is incredibly important to the town of Pendleton. And one of the reasons is that if you have a Main Street, you can qualify for a number of federal and state grants and other possible grants to do the work in your buildings, where if we don't have Main Street, we don't qualify, or it's going to cost more. And some of these grants, the percentage of investment by a building owner might be 10% less. 10% of $100,000. That'd be nice to have around, use for something else or whatever a project's going to cost. And the last part, Main Street communities are part of a national network with a proven record for generating strong economic returns and strengthening the district's position for the highly competitive marketplace. And it's a fact. Main Street's been around, I believe, since the early 1980s. However long it's been around, every single study has shown that towns that have Main Streets and follow the Main Street historic preservation guidelines succeed better than other towns that do not do that. And significantly better economically for the business owners and the building owners. That's part of the reason I'm suggesting that the transom windows stay the same size. The other suggestion is the wood that's up there for the transom windows is far superior to the wood that we can go buy today, unless extra efforts or get wood from South and Central America that holds up. And you know, pine is not pine. I don't know if there's 100 different types of pine or what it is, but I think that's one type of pine. It might be more preferred, but I believe that's a good straight vertical grain wood up there that's served for a long time. And I think if you investigate it, there's a chance that it will serve longer. Your center window you're talking about having open out. I believe I was the guy that put screws in it. I didn't want to put nails in it, but you asked to have, I think Missy asked me to make sure it wasn't going to fly open again like it used to. And so I put some screws in it. And so it should be something that can be changed. But once again, if that window can open out, it's going to be much easier to weather seal. If it opens in, it's harder. And I think it opened in. Yeah, that's what I remember, but it swung in. until I put screws in.
Well, just to clarify, just in case, the transom windows, we're not changing the size. They're gonna be the same size and we're gonna maintain the wood and hopefully everything's good to go there. And it won't be replaced, but it's all gonna be the same size as both pictures. So we're not changing the size of that at all.
Just while we're here and we'll have these pictures up, as you're doing all your plans and everything, note the awning on the right. You know, it's folded up against the building, but that might be something that you consider in a later phase or as part of this too, you know, because I know that the sun can be really fierce, you know, to the front of your building and all of that. So, you know, note, especially when you're removing and doing work, you can see where the brackets are, and maybe try to catalog that stuff in case you ever do want to put an awning at a later stage, that it would be reminiscent of what's shown there and what ghosts you can glean from your
Right.
building while
Yeah.
you're
And
digging.
we have researched and looked at awnings, but we haven't found one we even like. So
Yeah.
that's why we just left it off. And
Yeah, and those aren't easy to live with, the kind that are on there,
Right.
but you know,
I did send Hannah Rose a picture of the old Donnies with their green and white metal awning.
Uh,
I think I remember where that went one time, but that was a cool vent awning, and it was a product that was made in Pendleton, Indiana. Cool Vent was a major corporation here at one time. And gentleman that lived up in Anderson, his last name was Outen. I believe he had the Cool Vent awning business there. But he lived in Anderson, so it was fancier. The crank out awning system. Adita 39 took it off the front of the building there, and there's a little translation column between my English and their Spanish. And so I came down here one day and it was gone. But that's the type of awnings that I do like to see on the front of buildings. That particular awning and awning mechanism that was there, it's probably been there since the 1930s or 40s. And there are a number of cranked out awning manufacturers that everybody wants just to have one they stick on there and it stays in one place. And the advantage of the crank out awning, you can pull it back in the winter time, get more sunlight into your space. You're on the fortunate side of the street, nothing against the other businesses, but you know, on the south side, that sun comes in. It does a great deal to warm your space up in the winter time. Summertime, you crank your awning out, that's going to protect your storefront. It's going to protect some customers that want to sit out there.
So I mean, I think my analysis really just mirrors kind of everything we've said. Keeping the swing windows should be bay to retain the historical look. They're utilizing materials that are original or efficient, allowing the windows to open. Leads to building openness and you can interact with the streetscape better. And obviously, this does not pose a threat to public safety.
And given the boards underneath the windows,
Yeah.
I believe those are pretty historic as well. And they're sort of mimicked in the building next door that's been cannibalized over the years with what you can still see there.
And after our last meeting in December, we all sat down and talked about that and realized that the continuity it brought with the building, with Catella, with the building next door. And felt like you guys were correct in that, you know, not approving the garage doors. So we let that go. So we agree with the kick plate.
It's gonna look nice.
Yeah.
And still give you what you need.
Yes,
That's the important thing.
yes.
And another thing that it does, it enhances the possibility of Pendleton getting more grants in the future because everything is numbered, and when you apply for a grant, you get a point for this and a point for that. So that gives points. That's important for the future.
I agree.
So the ask is the single swing style bay window, gooseneck lighting, new door.
I do have one other suggestion on the door. I don't know which way you are going to have the door open, but if it opens to the west, then the prevailing winds won't be blowing in. If it opens to the east, then it'll collect and so it'll be hard to get the door closed when there's heavy wind. And that'll help keep rain out of your space as well.
All right, so do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right,
Yeah,
very good.
I'm excited. Thank you.
This is awesome.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is-
Yeah.
Thank you. We are too.
You did your homework.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for your cooperation.
I will
Oh,
send
yes.
you your COA tomorrow. And then whenever you're ready for anything inside, just.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, hey, thanks.
All right, I just have some admin stuff for you guys. So if you open the G drive, there is a internal illumination Word document. I don't know if you've had any time to review it at all, but I went through just really any historic districts I could find to see what their policies on internal illumination
Oh,
were.
yeah.
Because when the gas station got their new signs, kind of sparked me to take a look at that, which while that building is a gas station and has been for a long time and it's not a contributing structure, in case we have anyone else come in who wants to do something internally illuminated, I mean, it's only the building that's on there, or the sign that's on the actual building. The gas price sign is sort of illuminated, it's just the gas prices themselves. So I just kind of wanted to go through some points that I got out of that. All of you got a copy of the design standards as they are right now. I'd like to give you homework if you redline them for me. If you can get them by next month, that would be awesome. But this is kind of something to keep in mind when going through that. If we don't have enough language on it, if we have too much language on it, not clear language that are in the standards right now. So what I have noticed in a lot of these other historic districts is that the traditional vinyl or plastic internally illuminated box sign is a no-no, whether it's on the building or it's on like a monument style sign, which is really the only two that I kind of noticed you could do that with anyway. Sort of a projecting sign, I guess, but that wasn't prominent in the ones that I found. However, this could pertain to really any internally lit plastic or vinyl box cabinet sign. It did say in a few of them that the box signs could be appropriate for areas with mostly non-contributing structures. So I think of just the PNC building and then the one right next to it where the Farmers Insurance, like those are not contributing buildings, but they're in our downtown business district or historic district. Not that I think anyone there would put up those. But what's preferred is the halo lit or external illumination. So
You're talking about the
that's
cellar one here?
yeah,
Yeah.
like the wine cellar. So it's either by letter or it's like a light behind it that shines behind the entire sign. Or like Steve was talking about external illumination, which is what a lot of our signs down here have, whether from above or kind of on the building shining at the sign. Or if it's a monument sign, it's in the ground shining at it, which is usually preferred. I don't know if we have any halo lit signs here that I've seen.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, but if that's, if anyone who happens to have one or has an internally illuminated sign wants to kind of update, that's the go-to, is something that's like that wine cellar sign. So, and if there is some internal illumination, they said it should be considered to individual cut letters with only the face illuminated. So like if you have to have it or you can't get around it, it's better to, instead of having a box, to just have the individual letters. So just stuff to keep in mind as you go through and redline it. I didn't print with that all of the back pages of the contributing buildings, because that was like down pages.
Oh,
I didn't want to kill all the trees. So that's like the meat and potatoes. And then once we get that kind of really hammered down, I can print a copy for kind of, you know, each of you to go through as far as the stuff in the back, because that's just a picture of the building with the suggestions on what should be done to make it recontribute or more contributing, bring it back to historic nature, stuff like that. So, but if you want to go through that digitally, just let me know any pointers.
I noticed that when I went through it, and there are several of them, not several, 2 or 3, that question marks, you know, suggestions for,
Mhm.
and when I was thinking about it, Kayla, when she was in this position, and I don't know what it was called, and maybe it's still here, I don't know if it was hers or if it was the town's.
Mhm.
But it was a book on, it showed exactly what each type of building should look like and how you restore it, and it was an amazing book.
I think I
It's
have
here,
that
I thought it was here
somewhere.
somewhere, yeah.
The curriculum that
Yeah.
Kayla was
I'm-
working on.
I'm
with
going through
Instructor
my
Creek.
files, like I've got something like that, and if I don't, I think I have it digitally like scanned in.
But I remember seeing that and you
Yeah.
went through.
That may be helpful
Okay,
to fill in some of those gaps, because I looked at it and go, shit, I don't know.
yeah, that's what I do, I don't know.
I have no idea how to do
Yeah.
that, you know, or what it is.
And some of the, like in the old preservation or design guidelines, there were, so sometimes they had missing buildings, like of our contributing buildings. So those, I think most of those are the ones with question marks because they were not in the old one.
Right.
Whether that's because they were deemed as not needing any work. I think we could still have suggestions regardless of how to
Absolutely.
maintain
Yeah.
a structure that is pretty much already as it should be.
Mhm.
I don't know how many of those we have, but something like that. And then we also had guidelines for some non-contributing buildings. But we were missing a few that I would consider significant, like that are kind of down around here, not necessarily on to the north or to the south. So that's why some of those guidelines are missing, and I think we could definitely take a look at that. I do have on, it might be on the G drive, I think it is, the Madison County Interim Report of Historic Buildings. So I scanned in Pendleton only, and there's like way more structures on that. So I don't, it was from the 80s, so I don't know how current, like if it still holds.
It does.
It does, okay, because then we're missing a lot of contributing structures in our contributing structures list.
They've been altered over time.
Okay,
Somehow.
so they're more than likely, a lot of those are now considered not contributing because of the modification.
Sure point, yeah.
Okay,
That
they
can,
could
that
cross
can
the
go
street.
both ways.
okay.
Yeah, they could come back, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know if that's something like, if I can kind of compile that list and we can go, I mean, on a warm day, go walk around and see what is, you would say, okay, this is still not contributing, or this has had a lot of modifications to bring it back to its originality. Something like that. And then I don't know if this is the body that can then say, switch that back to contributing.
If they're going to update it, yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Or is there a term that can sit in between contributing and non-contributing, like potential
Well,
opportunity or
I
something?
think we can do that. I don't know of one. However, in that interim report, they use non-contributing a whole lot less and they use a reference building. So like Dr. Lau's building is technically non-contributing.
Right.
However, if you were to bring it back to its originality, it would be an incredible, like notable one. So like, I would consider that more as a reference building as its original
Right.
form.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if
That's
there,
useful.
yeah,
I think
if there
that's
is
useful.
something like that, because I remember seeing, that, I was like, how is Dr. Love's building not contributing? It's like the biggest one, it's all brick and it's these arched, windows,
Yeah.
but it's not there right now.
It's
It's just
not
behind it.
there. Right, that's right. And a lot of
So-
our buildings, the one across the street on the corner, it
Mhm.
was a beautiful building at one time.
The
corner with
pharmacy,
The hand, yeah. the
Haas
hand-
Pharmacy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's one building to right here.
right, yeah,
And so half of the flower park is that same building.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's unique,
It's just
so,
been altered over time.
yeah.
Original
okay.
photos of that building, it was slate roofed. Which when I
It's in that
removed it,
report. I found a really old picture of
Oh,
it.
it is?
Yeah, well, not the part I didn't print.
Oh, okay.
But digitally, that's available on your G Drive too.
Yeah.
If you
I
want
have
to take
a
a look at it.
very old picture of it too, with a
Yeah, send
bunch
it
of
to me.
gentlemen standing out in the dirt road.
Mhm.
Of it.
Yeah, and again, anything, I did put the contributing list printed in the back of this document for you. So anything you can think of that you might have a picture of, even if it's just an additional one to what I have. I'm kind of making a repository of each building. Tammy suggested to kind of put a timeline of photos on each page for each building that's contributing or in the inventory. So you've got some homework.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's not
Thank
Then
Yes.
did anybody accept my offer of popcorn?
Oh, yes, the webinar. So,
Yeah.
Tammy and Sandy are currently, registered. I think I might have registered you too. If you got an email for it.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you, it's a free webinar, so if you guys want to, we can host that here in our conference room.
Sure.
If that way, if there's stuff you guys want to discuss. I don't, Jeff, that's okay that they do that, because this is educational, right?
Yes, they can attend things for the betterment of the, for knowledge, obtaining knowledge and for the betterment of the commission.
Okay, I thought so, thank you.
Anna Rose, I'll be in Florida, but I will zoom in.
Okay, all right. So.
On the beach.
The margarita's okay?
Ross?
We'll do it in my
You didn't
office.
hear.
Yeah, we can do
He's
that.
like,
He's on another page.
Yep.
So that's all I've got. Again, if there's anything extra in the design guidelines you can think of, or anything you want to send my way, just let me know. I'll look into that kind of interim report and see if I can get a list going, so we can compare and contrast, as well as maybe some better verbiage instead of, just non-contributing en route to contributing or something. So I will take a look into that.
I think having that meeting like that would be very good for
That'd be
everybody.
fun.
It gives us
Yeah.
a chance
Okay,
to
well,
discuss
then
things.
we're happy to host. I
Try
know,
to check and see if Ted.
Yeah.
will be able to make that too.
and we can just, right in the big conference room there, we have a big screen in there now, so.
Do we need to raise it for it? Or can I just show
No,
up?
just tell me and I'll register.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll be there.
Whoever,
Yeah.
okay.
Definitely.
We get points, right, for attending.
Oh, yeah.
We do,
Sure.
so it's our.
Those
yeah.
points are important.
So I'll register you guys and then I'll just have either my login or somebody else's. I don't know if they check if you're not, but I'm sure we can tell them we were all in attendance or something like that, so.
Hannah Rose, if you had anything to do with radical change in approach. of the wine stable, I thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, no problem. They mostly brought that to me. The only thing I did was, Steve brought me a window like this and it had a bunch of panes in it. And I was like, let's try bay windows. Let them see how it'll actually.
Well, I mean, if you read the
work. So,
meetings, Sandy had a lot to do with
Yes,
bringing up the fact that brick was not appropriate.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
I think, I
Thank
mean,
you.
that was a learning moment for me as well.
Yeah.
I love that they
appreciate
can
it.
ship the savings hopefully to.
Yeah.
Place.
Yeah, put that stuff on the
Too.
inside, the extra
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're
Yeah,
all
this
better
won't be
off.
all that much, just some windows and lights. And then we haven't had any COAs issued since our last meeting. I can't remember if at the last meeting we invited to the table their post sign, they're planting their necessary landscaping in the spring. I don't remember if I mentioned that. So, because it requires landscaping.
I thought we were gonna see a return of the awning.
Oh, well, I guess we need to, Jeff, do we need to vote to continue that? Because he doesn't have any new ideas yet. He hasn't reached out to me.
Yeah, since it's set for a hearing, that the hearing should be affirmatively continued into the next meeting.
Okay, excellent. So. Motion, I believe,
Motion to-
Motion
Move
to
it.
table. business.
continue.
No motion to continue? Do we have one?
I'll make a motion to continue the awning for John Oliver, correct?
Yeah.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Good, okay.
Anything else?
Actually, with that awning in this, which I didn't really know until I read through this earlier. It says no aluminum on
Excellent. All right.
Hmm.
Well, I will let him know.
it. Yeah, I was surprised by that, but I
think
believe
had-
it states in there that no aluminum, no plexiglass,
Yeah.
no fiberglass, a couple others.
the,
And we
uh,
suggest fabric on.
Yeah, the like cold fabric that's on 121 West State, I think I had shown him that as an example where it's not exactly completely encompassing the
Mhm.
skeleton of the awning, but it's a cold fabric. So we'll see what he said. I think he's just been busy.
Sure.
That's fine.
Address this because he's working on that.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, it's so, really excited.
All right, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
One thing before we do that, we could elect officers since it's our first
Oh, that's
meeting, or
right.
re-elect the current board.
Yeah, all right, so,
So Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can make a motion to re-elect officers as they were last term.
Yeah, absolutely, as a slate, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion that we re-elect the slate of officers from the previous term. I second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I hit the big chair again.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Doing a good
Fearless
job.
Well,
leader.
thank you. All right, so now do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we have that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?